Folks, we're in troublesome times right now here in America, but not just America, the world. I've said several times recently, America is engulfed with dark clouds, but it's not just America. The world, if we could see through a lens that God looks through, I believe we'd see dark clouds covering the whole globe. That's where we're at today. Today's program is going to be about that. I call it this: storm clouds of prophecy on the horizon. Do you see them? Do you have spiritual eyes? Do you have eyes to see? Jesus said, "He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. He that has eyes to see, let him see." Can you see them storm clouds today? We're going to talk about them today in the program. Stay tuned. And welcome to the program. Doc is with me here. Doc, I see storm clouds out there. I've never seen nothing like it. I've been doing this a long time. 2008, 2009, I got into prophecy. 2014, I got deep into prophecy, and it's snowballed since then. You and I met later on, and you've been in this longer than I have.
Yeah, I've been in it a long time, I read an article on, maybe it was Jan McKell, anyway, about didn't expect to see it in our lifetime. And what's happening, it's snowballing now so fast.
Well, the stuff that you talked about 30, 40 years ago, it's here.
It's here.
I mean, the mark of the beast, and we'll get to that. I mean, you can see it as clear as day. It's there. Yes. It's just moments away. We're just waiting on one more little crisis to come along to push us over the edge.
And it'll come.
Yeah.
It'll come.
And several things I wrote down here, but the storm clouds are here. Well, let's start with the passage in Mark. And you and I struggled for 10 minutes trying to find what we wanted to use today. We have no internet at the moment, and we couldn't get on our phones and find something. And but I want to read about the feeding of the 5,000 here in the book of Mark. And there's several different versions of the story in the Bible. And I'll start in verse 42. This is Mark chapter 6, verse 42. And they did all eat and were filled. And they took up 12 baskets full of the fragments and of the fishes. And they that did eat of the loaves were about 5,000 men. And straightway he constrained his disciples to get into a ship and go to the other side before unto Bethesda, while he sent away the people. So he tells them, go down to the bottom of the hill, get in the boat, go to the other side. That was the will of God for them. Yes. They're about ready to sail into a storm, right in the center of God's will.
Yes.
Interesting. He sends the people away. He goes up into the mountain the rest of the way, because they're already up on that hillside, but he goes up higher, I guess. In verse 43 here, verse 46. And when he had sent them away, he departed into a mountain to pray. And when even was come, the ship with the 12 apostles is in the midst of the sea, and he alone on the land. He's up in the mountain. And we joke about this sometimes. What was Jesus doing up in that mountain? He was praying up a storm. He was praying up a storm for them guys. In fact, he could see them. He's in the mountain. He's looking down. He can see the Sea of Galilee there. And he's praying.
Yes.
Now, we don't know what he's praying. We joke about it. He's praying up a storm. Let me read the rest of it here. Verse 48, and he saw them. See, this was, he saw them from the mountain. He can see them out in the boat. Now, I don't know if he literally can see them or if it's because he's God. But
he saw them because of God, because of the distance. He wouldn't have physically.
Yeah, it would have been tough, although he's going to walk out there in a little while. But so when even was come, the ship's in the midst of the sea, and he alone on land, and he saw them toiling and rowing. For the wind was contrary unto them, and he knew about that wind, and he probably caused that wind.
Allowed it.
And because it's going to tell us here in a minute why, but it says that in verse 52, they considered not the miracle of the loaves.
Yeah.
He brought that storm to teach them something.
Help teach them.
Because he was upset. He'd done that miracle about the feeding the 5,000, and they completely missed it. Even though they're each lugging a basket full of fragments.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You compare that to, I believe it's the same story in John. They've got those baskets of fragments left over,
Yeah.
and of course, we've talked about the barley, and it's a symbol of Israel going out into the storm.
Yeah, and I'm going to let you hit on that prophetic side of this passage in just a second. And let me finish reading a couple verses, and we'll turn it over to you here, because this is about a storm, and this is about Israel in the end times. So he sees them toiling and rowing. The wind was contrary unto them, verse 48. And about the fourth watch of the night, he cometh unto them. So he's left the mountain. He's now on the water, walking on the water. Not a bad miracle in itself, right? No. But, he's walking on the water on the fourth watch of the night upon the sea, and he would have passed them by. That's almost humorous. It's almost like I don't even know if he waved. He was going to walk right by him, go to the other side. And they see him,
well,
and they're in the storm.
He said, I'll meet you on the other side.
Yeah,
so.
He was heading over there. But when they saw him walking upon the sea, they supposed it had been a spirit and cried out. For they all saw him and were troubled, and immediately he talked with them and saith unto them, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And he went up unto them into the ship, and the wind ceased. And they were sore amazed in themselves beyond measure and wondered, for they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. So take it from there, Doc, and share briefly the prophetic story.
Well, the prophetic side, I believe, is a picture. They have 12 baskets. They're filled with the fragments of barley. 12 tribes of Israel, barley symboling Israel. They're sent into a boat, and Jesus goes up. And he sends them out into the storm because they had rejected, or Israel is going to reject Christ. They have been. And so as he's walking by, it's like they didn't recognize. And so when you compare that over the book of Zechariah, the Bible says they're going to look on him whom they have pierced. And there's going to be a salvation of a nation take place. And so I think it's symbolic of the fact that Israel, in their blindness, their willful rejection of Christ, symbolically sent into a storm while he's away, but he's going to come back and rescue them just before the boat sinks.
Yeah.
And when the storm stops, when you compare it to, I believe, John, they're on the other side. And so I think it's a picture of the storm that Israel is really now getting ready to go through. They've been through a lot of storms in 2,000 years.
Yeah.
But the greatest storm is yet to come, the tribulation.
And Mr. Goodwin, you could put that, if you still have that barley book, put that up. If not, that's okay. But
yeah, it's most people miss that. You've taught on it for years. And
yeah,
so
the feeding of the 5,000 is in the barley harvest book, and she'll
But I think it's a prophetic picture. It's getting ready to come. We call it the tribulation.
And there's something else even that kind of goes with that is when they get to the middle.
Yes,
they're in the midst of the.
They're in the midst.
They're in the middle. Middle of the tribulation.
Yep. That's right.
When do they find Jesus? Right at the midpoint of the tribulation, the 144,000 Jewish men.
There you go.
They witness the two guys are killed. They're left dead for 3.5 days. Then they ascend back into the heaven. 144,000. It says in Revelation 11:13, the remnant gave glory to the God of heaven.
Yes.
That has to be born again people. That has to be saints saying that, not lost.
Israel is going to turn to him. But it's not until they're in the depths of the storm where there's no hope.
Yeah. And that's Matthew 24, and that's where they have to run for their lives. The Antichrist is going to, he's going to want to kill every one of them.
But he's going to get in the boat and take them to the other side safely, the remnant.
Yeah.
Yes. There are other pictures of that, Dan, but I think that's the main one.
And the reason we wanted to use that story to get us started, and you're going to give us Zechariah in a second here, is because there's a storm there.
Yes.
And we're in a storm today.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you've got spiritual eyes, you can see the clouds dark on the horizon and probably see the flashes of light from the lightning.
And you know a storm is coming.
Yeah, and the wind's starting to blow,
yes.
and you know that any moment it's coming.
You can sense the atmospheric pressure changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's where we are, because the storm is the tribulation.
Yeah.
And we that are born again are not going to be in the midst of that storm, but we're not going to be excluded from the storm clouds and that which precedes it.
Yeah, and the 144,000 are called in Revelation 14 the first fruits unto God. Mm-hmm. I believe they're the first fruits of salvation.
It would appear that because the first half of the tribulation, I believe the greater majority of the people are under such a great deception. The Bible calls it a delusion that's going to sweep the world. Yeah. And they're trying to figure out how to get something to eat and how to survive. If you've read the plagues or the three types of judgments that's coming, and so but it's not until the middle of the tribulation that finally, wait a minute, there's a reason for this.
So let's have you go to Zechariah chapter 12.
Well, Zechariah chapter 12 is talking about Israel. And it says, in that day, I believe that's talking about the day concerning the second coming, will a burdensome stone for all people, all that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, so all of the people of the earth be gathered together against it. Well, that sounds like where we're at right now.
Israel is the center of the world. They're the most hated people of the world.
And prophecy must always be viewed from Jerusalem's standpoint.
And they become a burdensome stone.
Yes.
And, right now, this year is the 75th anniversary of that little country over there, Israel, the rebirth of that country. Yeah. They're a lot older than that, but this is the rebirth. Oh, yes. They're back in their land. And 75 years is what we call the diamond anniversary. And the diamond is the roughest or the hardest stone known to man, they tell us. And it's used for the 75th anniversary. It's used
for breaking rocks and pieces and everything else. Yeah.
And that's what Israel's going to become, it says in Zechariah.
It already has become, Dan, because everybody that tries to get involved in peace and whatever in the middle, it always falls back on them and brings harm to them as a nation or a group of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So it appears with the predicament of Israel right now, and we've shared some of this over the last few weeks of what's going on over there, Syria right on their doorstep, Russia right there.
Yes.
Russia's got connections in Syria, and Russia's, the bear's being pushed. And it's one of these days.
He's being pulled. The Bible says he's putting hooks in his jaw. Yeah. And it just seemed like every day there's another hook to pull him into this thing.
And I know where he's going. The Bible tells us where he's going, to Israel. He's going to the mountains of the north, the Golan Heights.
For Ezekiel 38 and 39. And this is going to be the stone that crushes.
Now we can see the storm cloud over Russia right now. We can see it.
Yes.
We can see that they've been pushed so far. And people can say what they like. Oh, Mr. Putin's a terrible man. He may be a terrible man. But a lot of the stuff that's going on in the last couple of years is being twisted.
It's all been planned and executed by the elites of the world. War in Ukraine has made the elite wealthy people uber wealthy.
I wonder how many people understand that Mr. Zelensky is a billionaire with a B.
Yeah.
Billionaire. He has a place in Florida.
Oh, he's got places
there. The guy's a billionaire.
Yeah. And just this week, you had the quote-unquote coup that was going to take place. I'm confident all of this was a plan of NATO nations or certain individuals, because everybody's talking about, there's a chink. There's no chink in Putin's leadership. All this done was solidify it more.
Yeah.
And all it's doing is to bring Israel, or to bring them into this conflict.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think you can push that bear so far, and then he's
going to charge you, man.
Yeah. And we know where he's going. The Bible says where he's going.
Yes. But like you say, storm clouds or the shadows of the things getting ready to come. I mean, you can't help but If you don't see them, folks, I'm telling you, you're spiritually blind.
So we've hit Israel. We've talked about the Russian bear, storm clouds. The Bible says these things are going to happen. Yep. We can see those clouds coming our way. The wind comes before the storm gets there.
You can feel it.
Yeah. And it's like you see the clouds, you can see the flashes of light in the horizon.
Well, everybody's
and then that hot wind comes.
Yeah. Everybody's so concerned right now about the U.S. dollar. I read an article this morning before the internet went off that since 13 days since they extended the debt limit, we have spent $500,000 a second.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, I think I heard the debt went up $800 billion.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when they did the math on it, it's
just since they did that,
$500,000 a second.
These are like teenagers or 21-year-old newly married kids that using their credit cards. That's what Congress is, and they can blame it on the president. Congress authorized this.
Yeah, Congress. And, but when you realize that, I think the average American. Now, I'm not one of them, thank the Lord, but the average American is $57,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Everyone. That includes you and I, even though we're not a part of it.
Yeah. And that's little babies, grandkids, our grandkids, they all owe that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And these are all storm clouds
and that's on the list here,
the world stage.
The one world currency. We can see it.
Oh.
We can see it. They're wanting to. People don't understand what happens when you no longer have, well, let me get some out. When you no longer have this right here, cash.
Yeah.
When they take that cash away and you have to use a credit card or digital currency.
Hey, I went to, of all places, a pizza place, and they wouldn't let me pay with a $100 bill.
Yeah.
I was in another place about 3 days later, and they would not take a $100 bill.
I'll trade you this $20 bill for one of them.
Well, if you got four more to go with it. But anyway, I'm telling you, they're working hard at pushing people. I read an article yesterday that the post office is telling you ought not send a check in the mail. It'll probably get stolen. All of this is fear-mongering to push everybody to an electronic system.
And what happens, folks, is everything you do, everything you buy, every gallon of gas you buy, everything you do is digital, it's trackable, it's controllable. You can be cut off, your credit can be stopped, you could be stranded somewhere and not even be able to buy gas to get home with a click of a button on a computer screen.
So everybody says, well, I'm going to store up a bunch of $100 bills. It won't do you any good.
No.
Because it'll be an electronic system and it will not, there's no way to use it.
Because when this happens, you have to turn in your cash.
You're going to have to convert it over or use it for
and I have a feeling that they'll come for our silver and gold too. But let's move on here. We can see that storm cloud there, and the sad thing is, Doc, most people are fine with it. They don't care. They can
sell you. They can sell you with their talking points on how beneficial it's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, it may be beneficial to you in this way, but it's going to be twice as beneficial for them on the other side of it.
You lose freedom.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no
all
freedom.
about that. Yes.
It's none of the government's business where I go, where I buy my gas, and what hotel I stayed in, and who I went to visit.
Yep.
But with the digital system comes the tracking
total
system.
Control.
Yeah, total control.
They're gradually doing that with their cell phones. They already know where you've been, where you're going, if you carried your cell phone with you.
Oh yeah. And I heard a report today on the way here, Doc. I almost forgot about it. They're saying that Mr. Biden has said by 2030 he wants high-speed internet around the globe, everywhere.
Yes, I saw that.
Now I know what that's about.
Oh.
That's the tracking system. No man can buy or sell. Say
Yes.
if he had the mark, you got to have that tracking. You got to be able to track those people.
With Elon Musk's program, it's basically already in place. Yeah.
So another one here, another storm cloud I see real quickly, Doc, is nukes, nuclear fallout, nuclear attack.
I don't know if it'll happen before the rapture. I'm confident some of that's going to be involved in the Red Horse Rider. I'm really convinced of that.
But there's never been a time, even right at World War II and after, remember the Cold War, everybody was building shelters. I think we've gone past that. I mean, they're talking about it all the time. It's almost like they're trying to get...
It's almost those outside of Russia are doing everything they can to push Russia to do it.
Yeah.
So they can blame him for. But the nations that have it, just like we have it, is actually a deterrent. Because if you blow up my city, I can blow up your bigger city. You said, I'll blow up a bigger city. Okay, I'll blow up your bigger city.
Yeah.
And so who wants to destroy their own nation? So what's happening, I'm convinced right now, they are, the team, whether it's NATO or the European Union or just the elites of the world, they're doing everything to try to get, and I wouldn't doubt if Zelensky doesn't damage his own nuclear power plant so they can blame Russia on it.
And I don't know if we talked to that on a show or it was an update we did, but that is a report that I actually heard.
Yes.
Zelensky is telling the world that Russia's going to blow up his nuclear power plant.
In other words, I'm telling you what my false flag program is going to be here.
Yeah, it's just like Germany blew up the Reichstag
exactly.
And blamed it on Poland to get him into the war there, and that's what this is going to be. They're going to blow it up. They're going to blame it on Russia.
I don't know if they blow it up, but they're going to cause something that they can blame on it.
Yeah, there's got to be a little bit of a leak or something.
I don't think he can afford to blow it up because if he did, he'd lose his nation. So physically, literally, and I don't think BlackRock wants that. They've invested too much in buying up the project.
Yeah, in my book, and she has the 7 clocks, I think, or have you already put that up? The 7 clocks, a ticking book. I have the ticking nuclear clock, and if you can see the page here, you can see the mushroom cloud that I have here, the mushroom cloud. And I give the whole history of war in here, and all the way up to what we're in now, the nuclear age. And
when that happened, it changed.
Yeah.
It changed all the globe on this area of war.
Yep. So far, only one nation has attacked anybody with, and that's America.
And I'm not necessarily saying they did something wrong, but it was the only way it appeared to really get the attention.
They claim it probably saved more lives than it killed.
Oh, yes.
Because many more men were going to
Because,
die.
I mean, it put a stop to it because everybody said, wait. Of course, they didn't realize there wasn't another one to come, but anyway.
Yeah, they threatened them with the third bomb.
Yeah, there wasn't even one, but...
So these are storm clouds. We can see this nuclear war. We can see it. We can see it happening any day. And whether it will or not, we don't know. Israel. Globalism. We can see globalism.
Oh, boy.
Now, in my 7 Clocks a Ticking book, that's one of the chapters in here, Daniel's ticking clock. Daniel's clock, chapter 2 and chapter 7, is about the kingdoms of the world and the 4 kingdoms in Israel's time there. In these 4 kingdoms, we can see clearly now that final kingdom is ready to come on the scene. The revived Roman Empire.
It's almost already put together. It's obvious.
And I don't know if people realize this, the 10 toes, what that means is now that statue now stands up upon its feet.
It's ready to stand. And all the character traits of all of it is combined and ready to walk over the world. And primarily walk over Israel. That's what they're doing.
And I have some quotes in here. I won't read them all. We don't have much time left. But globalism is the central reality of our time. Bill Clinton said that in the year 2000. And he said it's coming and you can't stop it. It's like Bill Clinton knew the Bible, maybe. I don't know. But he thinks you can't stop it because he's part of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize he's a pawn in the big system.
Just a pawn in the picture.
Yeah. And we got Kofi Annan here. We got
well, George Bush the first said, the New World Order. Yeah.
And we got Barack Obama said, as the world continues to change and we become more connected to each other, global will bring both benefits and disruption to our lives. But either way, it's here and it's not going away.
Well, he said he was going to remake America, and he's done it.
Hey, Mikhail Gorbachev. The younger people won't remember him. He used to be the president of Russia.
The big birthmark.
Yeah. I support freedom And I support a free market economy. He didn't for his own country.
Yeah, he didn't for his own.
But it should be a socially oriented market economy.
Yep.
I support globalization, but it should be globalization with a human face. Mikhail Gorbachev.
Yeah.
Bill Gates is in here, the internet square for the global village of tomorrow.
It is, and through the internet and social media today, the thinking of the world is actually being formed through social media.
Yeah, globalism is here, and this is me speaking in the book. Globalism is here. A one-world kingdom would be what leaders call globalism. This term is a household word even now. So these are the storm clouds on the horizon, Doc.
Well, you know, I mean, the globalization of the world is already, back in Zechariah chapter 6, in the 7th vision that he had, is all about what you're talking about, the world returning to China.
And we're turning our health care and our pandemic emergencies over to the World Health Organization.
It's already been done. Yeah.
Yeah. If something happens, they're going to tell us what to do, what we can eat, where we can go, how we, what shots we got to get.
Most of the people in the world have no clue what's ready to happen.
So make sure that you know Jesus Christ is your Savior, because He's coming soon.
Amen.
The storm clouds are there. And Doc, in the last minute or minute and a half we have, let's tell them about the meeting coming up in Shepherdsville, Kentucky.
Shepherdsville, Kentucky. I'm going to be taking them on a walk through time. It's going to be recorded by professional videographers. And we'll start in eternity past. We'll walk our way all the way through eternity future in 6 sessions. Starts on Sunday morning and goes through Wednesday night. I believe it's the 30th of July through
30th.
the 2nd of August. And I think you'll blend science in the Bible, archaeological discoveries. We'll blend prophecy, all of it together.
And we want to invite you, the viewer, if you're anywhere near Louisville, Kentucky, or if you'd like to just get on a plane, 15 minutes from the airport, Shepherdsville, Kentucky, just south of Louisville. She's got that up on the screen for you. We'd love to see you there. I'll be there. My wife will be there. We're going to be there for the whole meeting. Doc is going to be doing the speaking. We're going to do a live television show, 6 p.m. Sunday night, the 30th of July, right there at the church, Lighthouse Baptist Church in Shepherdsville. Doc and I and the pastor, Pastor Jordan, will be recording a live show right in front of the audience. You could be there. We'd love to have you. So send us a note, send us an email, call us if you need information. But until next time, keep your eyes on them skies. We'd like to invite you to become a part of this ministry by watching us, of course. We're on YouTube, Rumble as well, Facebook. But we're here by the gifts of God's people, God's people who partner with us financially and praying for us. We'd like to invite you to consider being a partner with us, a financial partner in the ministry.